everyone. This is Alejandro Pinheiro from the GSMA, and I'm very pleased to be joined here today by Charles Miller. Charles is the CEO of Lynk Global, and he'll be talking to us about their work on connecting just about everyone and everywhere on Earth. We'll be doing a presentation and then a brief Q&A. So Charles, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Alejandro, and I'm pleased to be able to share with your audience what Lynk is doing. And too bad about Mobile World Congress, but Lynk has got a really great story to tell. And fundamentally, we are going to take the phone in your pocket and connect it everywhere. We have a breakthrough technology that many did not think was possible, which is that we're going to build a cell tower mesh network in the sky that to your phone looks like a vanilla cell tower and will always stay connected. And so this is a really big idea, and it's a really big growth opportunity for mobile network operators, and we'll get into that. So basically, the mobile network operator community in the mobile wireless industry has a big problem in that the industry isn't growing anymore. It's basically topped out. And part of this is that global mobile penetration is topped out. And cellular towers basically have a business case, and they're not expanding really into anymore. There was rapid growth for a couple decades, but they're not expanding anymore because expanding into other areas doesn't make any business sense. So the penetration is essentially topped out about 2/3 of the Earth's population. And there's a lot of people left uncovered, which is the focus of your panel on the digital divide. So basically 90% of the Earth's surface is not covered and may never be covered by conventional terrestrial towers. And this not only means that the existing 5 billion people have lots of disconnectivity and others have less. But there's a couple billion people who may never be connected because people living in remote communities, why would they buy a phone if they don't have connectivity where they live and work? Getting into this is, if you could provide global coverage that cover the remaining 90% of the planet that you can't afford to build towers, it's a huge growth opportunity, and it's a $400 billion a year opportunity for growth for mobile network operators, and providing that universal coverage. In some countries and continents, it's more than others, but we think that fundamentally this is could be even bigger than 5G, and it's a bigger. We think it's a bigger breakthrough than 5G. You might even call it 6G because everybody's focused on 5G right now. And 5G being that faster speeds where you already have coverage, but that doesn't do anything for the digital divide that your panel is talking about, and the 90% of the planet that has no connectivity. So this is how we do it. On the left here is basically the systems of today. If you want universal coverage, you basically have to carry 2 devices around in your pocket, your mobile phone, and then for everywhere else, and only used when you're out of connectivity with your existing standard mobile phone, you carry a satellite phone. And this is an awful experience. You carry this extra device around in your pocket just for when the first device doesn't work. You have to keep it charged. They charge you $50 a month. It costs $700-800. It's just and it's hard to share between them. It's just a lot of friction, and it's nobody would design a system this way to provide universal coverage if you didn't have to, which is what we're going to get in the future. And so basically on the right is what we at Lynk consider to be inevitable. You're going to have one device, which is your standard mobile phone, that will connect to terrestrial towers when they are within range, and then only when there is no terrestrial cell tower or mobile tower in range, it will talk to the satellite mobile tower in space. It will roam onto the satellite network in the sky, just like you roam from one network to another everywhere. And so what Lynk does is provide a global shared roaming provider for mobile network operators. We're, you could think of this American tower in space. We're going to extend mobile network coverage to everywhere. And so this is not just for your mobile devices, but this is for cellular M2M and IoT devices as well. So when you have a 2G or 3G or 4G or 5G chip in your car or your drone or your any other mobile asset, it'll work with the cell towers or mobile towers when on the ground. And then when you roam outside of that, it will stay connected everywhere. And it's essentially a seamless, frictionless system. One of the reasons we can do this is there's a 10,000 or 4 orders of magnitude of improvement in coverage economic and remote and rural areas by using satellites in the way we're designing them. Another advantage to mobile network operators, MNOs have spent billions and tens of billions of dollars on buying up spectrum around the world, but it's underutilized. So you bought spectrum in many cases across an entire country, but you can't afford to light it all up. So that asset, that spectrum right in rural and remote areas that you own that you can't afford to use, we help you monetize. So we've done a lot of research on in different markets on this. There's a significant economic upside. 80 to 90% of people in country after country say that if they would buy this service just for peace of mind and safety and keeping their family and loved ones and friends connected all the time, and there would be significant utilization. The research demonstrates this is a multi-tens of billion dollar market if just for messaging. So it grows into a $400 billion market opportunity in the long term, but in the near term, just messaging is multiple tens of billions per year in revenue growth. We provide a strategic competitive advantage for MNOs that are partners. Connectivity is the number 1 justification for switching MNOs, one having better connectivity than the other. In summary, our core patents have been issued, others are pending, and our core technology has been demonstrated on the ground. And we're in the process of proving our technology from space with a variety of partners. We currently have 36 partners testing with us, 26 mobile network operators representing about 1.5 billion subscribers in 61 countries. The strategic benefits to mobile network operators are essentially in partnering with us is zero CapEx. We will finance all the CapEx and basically operate the space network in space. So really zero OpEx for hardware infrastructure to MNOs. In return, the MNO gets increased revenue in ARPU. So you'll be able to get your subscribers to buy premium services and remote connectivity and generate extra revenue from those existing subscribers, and also bring in new subscribers who are never going to buy from you because they're farmers and fishers and hunters and hikers in remote areas, and now you bring them over. And then finally, you decrease churn. So again, customers, one of the major drivers of churn is customers and subscribers leaving for a MNO that has better connectivity, and they're more satisfied. So we think it's a win-win-win for MNOs. There's essentially a significant upside and no downside. So that's the conclusion of my short presentation. If more information, you can visit our website at lynk.world. Any questions?
Charles, thanks so much. That's really interesting. And something that you've really touched upon here is the opportunity and the revenue opportunity as well for the MNOs. Something that we've sometimes heard when people talk about satellite, and I think it's a bit of from what I gather, a misconception is this sort of service levels and latency and all these different issues with, even from a cost perspective with satellite, which I think has been largely addressed. But, you know, perhaps this is a good opportunity for you to address that and talk about where is the technology and how can the MNOs really leverage it for remote areas as you were describing.
So the technology is being demonstrated from space right now. That's the key secret sauce that for providing basically base stations in the sky. We have solved for Doppler shift and extended range time delay as our core IP, and getting that built in space. So fundamentally in the long term, there is essentially, we're only limited in capacity and speeds by the amount of spectrum we have, and you know, how big our satellites are. So we can build satellites faster, bigger, with more power, and we'll do that basically in partnership with our mobile network operators. Another difference between us and many satellite companies, a lot of satellite companies find themselves competing directly against MNOs. It's either or. In our case, we think we're the bridging the not only the rural digital divide, but the satellite MNO divide. We are the best friend for mobile network operators by helping them, you know, have more satisfied subscribers and generate additional revenue. So it's a win-win in that way. And over time, we'll constantly upgrade the space network, kind of like you went from 2G to 3G to 4G and now 5G on the ground. There'll be a similar, virtuous cycle in space where we upgrade the network in space for higher speeds, and we'll basically, you know, do it in ways that we're getting from our MNO partners, that the types of services and improvements that they're looking for. So that'll happen naturally over time.
And Charles, so you were going to join us in Barcelona next week to speak on the session around the role of technology in bridging the digital divide. So who do you see are some of the potential end customers here? I mean, you mentioned some of them during the presentation just now, but who can MNOs look to leverage in terms of providing this connectivity?
Well, for example, there's estimated to be 1 billion or about 1 billion smallholder farmers in the world. Just by the nature of farming, you can't take farming to the city. Well, cell towers want to be in the city, or mobile towers want to be in the city, and farms want to be away from the city. So unless we don't decide that we figure out how not to have food or farm, in skyscrapers, you know, it's just naturally farms are going to be in rural, remote areas, and there's not going to be connectivity. So by providing our service, we connect basically the billion smallholder farmers in the world. It makes them more productive. It makes them safer. It makes them have more value, happy lives because they're in connection with their friends and family and less isolated. They get better data on what crops are being demanded, and as well as a greater safety. Fishers, there's tens of millions of fishers out on the ocean. So a lot of MNOs don't even think about the opportunity for the huge numbers of fishers that go out in the oceans because they've never had to market into that opportunity. So, there's an extended maritime economic zone around many nations that we help them tap into. And being a fisher is one of the most dangerous occupations on this planet. Essentially, you have a 10 times higher chance of dying if you're a fisher than if you're a police officer or firefighter. And part of that is if your boat breaks down, you can't call anybody. Another part of that is when the hurricane or this sweeps in, or typhoon, the world that's connected knows 2 or 3 days ahead of time and can get out of the way. But if you're a fisher out in the ocean, the first notice in many cases that the typhoon is coming is when you see it on the horizon coming at you, and by that time it's really too late. So if you had 48 hours or 72 hours notice that a typhoon was predicted to come exactly where you are, you could get out of the way, and so this will save tons of lives.
And I think it's particularly relevant given the global health crisis at the moment, right? The coronavirus outbreak. Technologies like these could really make a big difference when you look at it. from a public safety standpoint,
Yes.
as you were mentioning.
If you think about the fires in California, Australia, the mobile towers were going down. They were burning up the lines, or in California, they actually turned the power off because the power lines are causing the fires, so they turned off the cell towers in California, and then they couldn't warn people in California to get out of the way because they had no mobile coverage. So that happens again and again on different places of the world, right? So one of the earliest things we could do is a global cellular broadcast. So we could broadcast, disasters coming, from tsunamis to hurricanes to to tell people to get out of the way of a coming disaster.
And Charles, just to wrap it up, this is, as you said, a technology that is coming up. You almost call it more disruptive than 5G, even the potential 6G equivalent. So where would you like this conversation to be in a year or 2 years? And where are we now in terms of the MNOs and their prioritization of rural areas and the opportunities that satellite technology such as yours brings?
Well, in a couple years, we're going to be operational and delivering global, everywhere, everyone connectivity directly to phones in your pocket. And we're going to have hundreds of millions of customers with our partner MNOs, and we're going to be rapidly growing to signing up mobile network operators with billions of customers. So that's where we see this going. We'll also be providing global, everywhere emergency services to save lives in partnership with our MNO partners, and we'll be scaling up a big satellite network to benefit everybody.
Great.
And yes, so that's a good phrase, Alejandro, to say Lynk equals 6G.
Brilliant. All right, well, Charles, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate your support of MWC. It's a pity we didn't see you out in Barcelona, but it seems like we'll be able to get hold of you wherever you are soon anyway. So thanks again for your time.
Thanks, Alejandro, and look forward to seeing you and your viewers next year.